Oh!
Heyo!
Oh!
What's up, brewskis? My name is Marco Dupa. With me, as always, the great and powerful is Adam Obesius.
What's up, brewskis?
Tonight's brew is
Monsters in the Morning.
from Deschutes. It is the Black Butte Porter from America's favorite craft porter. And Obi's going to have a little bit more about that after the break. What's on tap for tonight? Well, if you're tuning in after last week, you will know that we finished the Mission Impossible series with Final Reckoning.
Yeah.
And one thing that we forgot to do, because of all of our excitement and trying to, and just trying to remember everything from Dead Reckoning and Final Reckoning.
Packed episode. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We forgot to actually rank all of the Mission Impossible movies now that the series is, well, tentatively finished. Yeah. Who knows? With McQuarrie and Tom Cruise. So we're going to do our ranking on this episode. We're going to try to get through that. Try to get through it as quick as possible.
Yeah.
Because we got a lot more to talk about, such as
the Orlando Magic.
Orlando Magic.
Busy in the off season. Doing a full.
Well, they've had enough time anyway.
I mean,
not doing anything else.
I'm pretty sad about the Knicks, so maybe it was better this way.
Yeah.
Give them a little break, give them some time.
Yeah.
Let them go to Cancun.
Yeah.
Hang out.
Everybody's going to Cancun.
While they were in Cancun, the big wigs in Orlando decided to do a full rebrand, and that includes new logos, new typefaces, and most importantly, new jerseys. And new merch in general. So I'd like to talk a little bit about how we feel as longtime Orlandoans. About the new revamp. That's a call back to the past.
Right on.
Yeah.
And then we're going to go through a lot of trailers / teasers. I don't really want to call this a trailer trash, maybe? But sort of, kind of?
Yeah.
First up, we have the State of Play, the PlayStation Expo, if you will.
Yep.
About all the new games that are supposed to be coming out. Who knows? We'll talk about some of the trailers, some of the highlights that we dug.
Sure.
And then the Tudum announcement thing for all of Netflix's slate of TV shows and movies that are coming out.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we'll go through that stuff, and we're going to talk about Stranger Things.
Yeah.
Because we just got it, I guess, at this point.
I guess.
Yeah. But we can't do any of that until we get through this little intro here. And the only way to do that is to crack open that brewski and have ourselves a good time. I'm bringing it back. This is the One Beer In podcast. Yeah, so they're doing a pour contest, the perfect pour, and now you can see it. That's in frame. Perfect pour.
Yep.
And you have to. It's kind of like splitting the G, but it's obviously the pour and not like taking a huge gulp of the beer. But there's all these parameters, man, like crazy parameters.
What is it? Just a photo, or is it a full video of you pouring?
So
beer?
I thought it was going to be a full video, and I was prepared to, really give this my all.
Yeah.
This is what happened. I knew that the guy was coming in because he was going to judge other people doing it.
Oh.
So other people were coming in, and they were using us basically as like a facility.
So there's a live review component to this whole thing.
No. So
okay.
I thought there was, but there isn't.
So many swerves.
So here's what happened. Yeah, because I got swerved while we were doing it.
Yeah.
I was under the assumption that there was going to be like everyone was going to film their pours, and it was going to be like the judges will watch the video and see like how well you nailed it or whatever, right?
Yeah.
No, turns out this guy, he represents Duvel. I think he was the not importer, but
just the rep.
The rep. And so the people that he was judging was other reps, and they wanted to enter, but they could only pick one person out of their group, right?
I see.
So they had to. So he had to basically pick one of them. So he was live judging them.
Okay.
He asked me before everybody had showed up. He asked me if he could just get a Duvel. So I was like, "Oh, this is a perfect opportunity to." I didn't know who he was.
Okay.
He just asked for a Duvel, and I was like, "This is a perfect opportunity for me to practice my pour." I set it down, and the arrogant, vain person that I am, I nailed it, and I was just like, I fucking nailed that shit. And I did this I didn't know that he was the guy, and I was like, fucking nailed that shit.
Check that out.
And that's what I said. I said, "Did you see that shit? I fucking nailed that." And he was like, "Do you want to enter the thing?" And I was like, "Oh, you're the guy." I didn't know that he was the guy. So I was like, "Yeah, dude, fuck yeah." So he just took a picture of me with the pour, and he was like, "You're entered now. I will send all of your information to them." And so they're gonna pick at random somebody. So it's kind of like a lottery system, and then you go and you actually compete. But if you get picked, you go to Las Vegas, all expenses paid, to enter into this to compete into this contest, right? And that fucking. So I was like, dude. But I was confident. I was like, "You can film this shit, man." I crushed that. So I'm hoping that they're going through these random photos and they're like, "We need someone from Florida," and they see my goofy ass and they're like, "This guy seems fun. Let's have him." Because I'll tell you what. I was looking at some of the other contestants, and some of them just look like a bunch of goofballs. Some of them look cool as fuck. I was really like, man, I was not prepared to be in a gallery of some of the coolest motherfuckers I've ever seen.
This guy's wearing a suit.
Some of the women were insanely hot. I was like, "Where do you work? You're in a brewery? What?
Ma'am, you're a model. Stop. It's not fair."
I was definitely I was a little shaken. I was like, I didn't wear I was just wearing a black t-shirt that day. Right. I was second guessing myself a little bit.
No. You're beautiful the way you are.
All right, let's clink this.
Cheers to that.
Cheers to that.
Should say Duvel is a beer.
An amazing Belgian beer.
Yes, quite good.
One of the classics. I don't think we've ever done it on the show.
I don't think so.
There's a lot of classics that we've just skipped right over.
Yeah.
We should take some time out to just do Chimay and other classics. I'm not gonna
and others.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? There's a bunch of. You can go through all the rankings or episodes rather and see. Sure. There's a lot of stuff, lot of money left on the table.
Absolutely.
But we can't do any of that right now. We have to talk about this beer. So, Obi, do you want to tell the people a little bit more about what we're drinking tonight?
I would love to. This is the Deschutes Black Butte Porter from Bend, Oregon. Deschutes Brewery, employee and family owned since 1988. The journey began at Black Butte, named for iconic Black Butte, towering high above Central Oregon. And seen for miles, this surprisingly balanced porter has notes of rich chocolate and coffee, a luscious creaminess and roasted finish. No wonder it's America's favorite. 5.5 ABV.
Every craft beer, I guess, starts off as, or I guess every beer company, every brewery starts off as a craft beer, right?
Technically, yeah.
Because they always...
Unless there's a millionaire that just decides to... Or multi-millionaire, I should say. That just opens up a gigantic plant that's we're going to sell nationally.
Yeah. I don't know if that's ever happened,
I don't think it does.
I mean, pretty much... I don't know if there's... I don't know the science behind
back
this.
Back in when Anheuser-Busch came over from Germany, but
they were
already a thing in Germany.
Right. And obviously they were clearly trying to turn it into they're trying to be
industry.
As successful as possible.
Yeah,
so that's
sure.
But when they first started, they started off as a craft beer company.
Yeah.
I guess I'm wondering I'm wondering, after beer became a thing,
Yeah.
like a just commercialized,
An industry.
a commodity.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder when can you trace back when craft beer, I guess microbreweries, like what's the first full on like real deal, competition to the big companies, like the first company, the first brewery that was like, we're just gonna make small batch beer, and like that semi successful. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because I mean there were always like home brewers since the beginning of time.
Right, right. So you can't trace it to that. And like this company, like since 1988, that's interesting. A lot of the places around here, fairly new. Red Light, 20 years, but we weren't brewing for 20 years.
Right.
Orlando Brewery was like before they closed down. I mean, they were the oldest, and they had been doing it for like
since the 90s.
Yeah. So I'm guessing you could trace it to like the early 80s.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Also, I sit corrected. Anheuser-Busch was started by German American immigrants, but technically started in America. So
there. Okay. So there you go.
1852.
1852.
From a saloon operator named George Schneider. It was originally Bavarian brewery. Just so you know.
Yeah. Okay, sorry for that little detour. I just had a thought, because this is since 1988, family owned.
Yeah.
And I was just wondering, like, when can you trace that back?
Yeah, especially the ones that are still around. It has to be pretty few and far between.
Yeah. That haven't been bought up, that aren't like multi-million dollar companies.
Yeah, I mean, even those, I would assume are pretty few and far between that you can at least trace back to being like an OG homebrew, craft brewery kind of place.
Yep. All right, let's get into this.
Okay, I'm ready.
Mission Impossible.
Can't stop talking about it.
Nope. And so we're just going to keep... If you're not a fan of Mission Impossible, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I apologize. Because this is like 3 or 4 episodes in a row where we've at least mentioned it or made allusion to it.
I can't say I'm sorry.
No.
I won't apologize for this.
You all should be happy about this.
We have timestamps. Don't worry. You're fine.
Yeah. You can get past it if you don't want to listen to it. But you should want to listen to it.
I guess we should say spoiler warning overall for the Mission Impossible series yet again.
Yeah, because we're gonna have to
give some reasoning,
deliberate on this a little bit,
yeah,
and try to So we may reveal. We are going to reveal stuff.
Yeah, certainly. This won't be a full review. If you want to listen to our full thoughts on these movies in a time capsule, go back and watch the One Rail In podcast. They're about each individual movies.
Yes,
one of these movies.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Our mission, if we choose to accept it, is to rank and come to an agreement on a ranking for the Mission Impossible franchise.
Okay.
I say we start from the bottom, and we agree on our least favorite Mission Impossible, the air quotes worst Mission Impossible. Because I want to be clear, it may be different for you, but for me, there are no bad Mission Impossible movies.
Yeah, I agree with
I don't
that.
think there are any bad ones. There are some, I think at their lowest, they're okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Like still a passing grade, but maybe a C as opposed to a B.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah. Okay. So I've seen a lot of flack online for Mission Impossible 3, which I don't understand. I also see a lot of flack online for Mission Impossible 2, which I agree with.
Yeah.
I think Mission Impossible 2 is easily the worst of the bunch.
Yeah.
I think it's overlong. I think it tonally is weird especially after Mission Impossible 1.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, within the confines of a spy thriller, pretty grounded. A little, boots in the ground, as they say nowadays.
Uh-huh.
Whereas Part 2 is a John Woo action movie with the facade of Mission Impossible on top of it.
Yeah.
Which again, I'm not saying is a bad thing.
Well, it just very well could be a different movie.
It feels
Like
very
it doesn't feel like it's in, and even with the rest of the movies, like it doesn't feel like it's in
the odd
those
one
movies.
out.
Yeah,
It's certainly the odd one out, and very of its time. It feels like a very early 2000s movie.
yeah.
In the best and worst ways.
But
Yeah.
we get the Limp Bizkit remix, and so it forever is crystallized because of that.
Certainly. I mean, lots of action scenes and
Well,
operatic.
Jalu's also awesome,
Yeah.
And I will say there's two things that stick out that even before I like rewatched that movie, like I grew up with these images in my head, and the first one is him free climbing that mountain.
Yeah.
in
Oh
the
yeah.
beginning.
Oh yeah.
Just crazy. Then him like throwing the glasses, and that's how he gets his mission.
After they are shot out of a RPG.
Yeah, just and the motorcycle scene,
Yes.
just like iconic. Truly, like unironically, I am not trying to be like silly. Haha, this movie's dumb. Iconic motorcycle fight scene. Like
Yeah.
sick as fuck. Love every second of it.
Yeah. Well, and then again, something that we nailed on a lot in the last one we're in for Final Reckoning was the villain problem, and I feel like the villains in this are so cartoonish,
Yeah.
and mustache twirly that it ends up coming around and being good again.
Yeah.
And it's just so like the mask thing where there's this like I remember one of the more iconic scenes for me is the whole reveal that like Ethan put his own face on the subordinate villain, and and the villain kills him, thinking it's Ethan, but then he takes the mask off and realizes it was like his boy, and he just screams because it's of course I just remember being this. I have to tell you guys, this is a movie I saw in theaters as a kid, and I remember most of the adults walking out of the movie being like, "What the hell was that?" Like that was kind of garbage comparatively.
I love that that juxtaposition, man.
Yeah, and I walked out like,
because that's how I felt with episode 1.
Yeah,
I walked out of there going like, that was the greatest. This is my Star Wars.
this may be the greatest movie I've ever seen.
This is it. And I just remember like looking at my dad, and he was just like not crestfallen. He wasn't, because he's not a big like Star Wars fan in the first place. He took me because I was, always a big Star Wars fan. And I just remember like him walking out and just being like nonplussed, I guess is the best way to. He just was like, I don't know, whatever, whatever. And it's always like it may not reach the target audience, but it reached somebody.
Sure did.
And MI2 reached somebody.
Oh yeah, touch me. It certainly touched me.
All right. Okay. Let's move on.
Andy Newton.
What's the next one?
Okay, so second worst of the Mission Impossible franchise. Ooh, that's tough.
Yeah.
So
not really, not for me.
Okay, well, please.
I have it going 2-1.
Really?
Yeah. Not to say that again, because like you already said, none of these are bad movies,
right?
But I just think that after 3, these movies just kind of go all like the quality wise.
They definitely get more like cohesive.
Yeah,
I'll say
set pieces get bigger and better, and the movies kind of become something like MI1. I mean, like you stated before, is kind of a grounded spy thriller relative to
the
spy
world that
action
we're living.
movies. Yeah. And for better or for worse, it is an outlier in a different way that MI2 is, in that it is a kind of like boots on the ground,
see.
like slower
Yeah.
kind of talky.
It wasn't a franchise yet.
It was just the movie.
Yeah.
And so I think that that's a pro and a con, because going back and rewatching it is really fun to be like, oh, this is where it all started.
Yeah. Well, especially now with all the callbacks in Final Reckoning.
Yeah.
So.
But then when you get into some of the later stuff, some of the later films, like it's not Mission Impossible, really. I mean, it is, but
it's not what it became.
It's not what it became.
It's certainly not what it became.
And I think that it just got exponentially better. And yeah, I got MI1 low on the list.
That's hard. I disagree, but I see where you're coming from.
How dare you?
I think that Mission Impossible 1 is a great standalone spy action thriller.
You got it a lot higher.
I do have it a lot higher.
Do you have this list just
No, it's
in your head?
in my head. It's in my head, yeah.
I had to write it down.
I didn't write it out. I feel like in context of all these movies, having seen all these movies, I would probably... this is tough. This is actually really tough now.
That's why you probably should have wrote it down.
I guess. I kind of feel like my second least favorite would be...
Say it.
Ghost Protocol.
Oh.
Again, not that it's a bad movie. It's just one that I haven't really felt the urge to go back to as often as the other ones.
Yeah.
Other than 2, obviously.
Yeah.
Because it's not anchored by a Philip Seymour Hoffman. It feels a bit more of an outlier again in this entire thing that they're building, and it feels a little bit off because, correct me if I'm wrong, but is that not the one that Brad Bird directed?
Yeah, it is the Brad Bird one.
I think he has his own touch and definitely adds to the goulash that is Mission Impossible. Like, he adds his own little thing to it.
Yeah.
But it definitely feels different than once we get McQuarrie into it.
Yeah.
And it feels like...
and we'll get to that because I have a feeling like we're both kind of in agreement that the McQuarrie films are like, that's when we really get rocking.
Yeah, I agree. So I would say 2, then Ghost Protocol.
Okay.
Personally.
No, I could see that. Because, again, not the most interesting villain. I'm looking at the cast and, like, Paula Patton, it was this experiment with, like, this just radiant, beautiful woman who just is boring on screen. They tried for years. They put her in so much shit, and it just didn't work.
Yeah.
And she just doesn't work.
And she's completely outshined by Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
Everyone else having fun in the mix.
So
we get Benji in there, right?
Yeah. And Brant, we get Jeremy Renner's character.
That's right.
This one.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, there are a few inclusions there that are noteworthy.
Yeah.
But I think overall it's just one that I don't really seek out as much as the others.
Sure.
So that's why I would put it next. What do you want to do? What will you give me in order to make this cohesive?
Right. I'll give you that.
I will. I'm willing. This is not where
I can switch that.
This is not where I stand on it personally, but I'm willing to put MI1 as the third.
Okay.
The third
and then
worst.
Yeah.
Okay. I can do that for you.
Okay. All right.
I can do that for you.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll go there.
Okay.
All right. We're in agreement on MI2.
Yes.
Ghost Protocol, second worst.
Yep.
MI3. I'm sorry, MI1 third worst.
Yes.
Now that brings us to fourth worst.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's where I had. Oh no, I kind of have this a little confused.
Uh-oh.
So we got MI2, Ghost Protocol.
Correct.
MI1.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I see. All right. So no, you need to decide what you have there.
What I have
Because
is
we have
fourth?
MI2, Ghost Protocol, and then so you're moving MI1 up, right? We're meeting in the middle there.
Yeah.
But what did you have there originally?
So originally for my third,
Yeah.
so my third initially was, well, no, that was my third. Ghost Protocol. Nope.
No.
Ghost Protocol was my third, I should say.
No. Yeah. No. We agreed on MI2. I said MI1 was second. You said Ghost Protocol.
Yes.
So we're agreeing. So we're flipping that. So now we got to move up to the next one, which is where we're putting MI1. Agreed. But where did you have it?
Where did I have MI1 initially?
Yeah.
MI1 for me is, that would be above. I like MI1 more than all the ones we listed, obviously.
Yeah.
And more than. Oh. I like it more than 3, I think.
Really?
I think I like it more than 3. But just barely.
I have 3 pretty high.
It's
actually.
a toss-up. I love 3. I'm a 3 defender.
Yeah.
But that just should show you how much I really do love Mission Impossible 1 as its own standalone thing.
Yeah.
I think it's a great, tight action thriller.
I think we're going to have to do like the median on MI3 because I'm just going to tell you right now, I have it top 3.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. I respect it.
I had, and again, this could all be like rearranged because I was going through it and I was looking at the plots to like try to remember which one was which.
Yeah.
So I think I have this list down.
This is going off of gut feeling mostly alone.
Yeah.
Other than, Final Reckoning, which we recently saw.
I had Dead Reckoning pretty low.
Yeah.
So mine was going to be Dead Reckoning next. MI2, MI1, Dead Reckoning. But now it's MI1. So it's MI2, Ghost Protocol, MI1.
So I think MI1 is better than Dead Reckoning, personally. But I'd be willing to put Dead Reckoning as the fourth.
Yeah, we got to put Dead there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dead Reckoning as number 4.
Yeah.
Worst. So, okay, let's stop doing fourth worst. How many movies are there again?
8.
8. Okay, so
it's just number 4. It's not fourth worst. It's just number 4.
number 4.
Yeah.
Okay, that's easy enough.
I don't know why we were doing that.
I don't know. This puts a negative spin on this entire thing. Okay, so next, after Dead Reckoning. Okay, so for me, I would throw in 3 at this point. Personally.
Okay. I can rock with that because I have MI3 at 3. So if it's fourth.
Yeah. Not much of a compromise for you. It works. My reasoning for that is that I feel like the stunts, the action, and everything but the story, which I feel like they do a good job of establishing in 3, which really kind of gets us into modern Mission Impossible really well. And I like the stakes. Obviously, I love Philip Seymour Hoffman. I think is my favorite villain of the entire franchise.
Yeah.
I think if they would have been able to keep him in the entire thing, he would have been like the best baddie to keep throughout the entire. Yeah, girl. Mm-hmm. I loved his performance, and I think it elevates the entire movie. But as
elevates
far as
the franchise.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Some of my favorite moments are just him screaming at Ethan.
Yeah.
Very intense. So some real highlights, but I think the rest of the movies elevate everything else to a level that you can't ignore. So that's my defense for putting it there.
Okay. I can rock with that because, like I said, I had it top 3. If it's 4, I'm okay with that. I mean, just solely based off of how good Philip Seymour Hoffman is in it.
Yeah.
And I think 3 is when the franchise really started to take itself seriously.
Yeah.
And really start to try to tell a more compelling story other than just like big action. And they really tried to. I know that it gets even more. It ggets even deeper, like the more that the franchise goes on, and this is like the J.J. Abrams one, and it's really, really J.J. Abrams.
Very.
Like you just like from the jump.
Yeah,
it's an Abrams movie.
Absolutely.
For better or for worse, do like J.J., but like he's got a very distinct eye.
Mm-hmm.
So you can look at that as a con or a pro.
Con.
So yeah, that's it. Can't it? I think it's good right there, right there in the middle.
Okay,
right there in the middle.
Agreed.
So,
okay, so that gets us to number 3. I mean, for me, has to be Final Reckoning.
Okay, all right. I had Final Reckoning at 4. So, again, we just kind of flipped them. I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I think so. It's a little complicated in my head, but in general, but I think
just in general.
I think that Mission Impossible 3 is technically a better movie as it stands on its own, but I think that Final Reckoning is a strong enough cap on the entire franchise that it deserves the little extra lift, the little extra love to get it just above 3. Ask me tomorrow, I may feel differently.
Okay, so we're right here with like 3 and 4 are basically interchangeable.
Yes. In fact, if you were to give me an argument, I could switch it.
Yeah,
I could feel okay about switching it. But my reasoning behind it, like feeling okay with that, with Final Reckoning being above 3, is that I feel like it had such big moments and was such a good cap to the entire franchise that it may not stand up as the better movie as a standalone movie, but the stuff it was trying to tie together and make work, and the celebration that it was of the entire franchise. And again, this may be a little bit of recency bias, but I feel like that deserves the little extra.
It does a good job of tying up as much as it can within its time frame.
Yeah.
I do think that it's bogged down by its effort to try to tie up as many loose ends as possible while also being like a fulfilling and satisfactory ending to the series.
Sure.
And I do think that, I mean, Philip Seymour Hoffman is just like on another planet as compared to
Issei Morales.
Yeah, it's like, and all due respect to that man, but it's just not even close. He's in another universe.
Yeah. He was in La Bamba. I know that.
Oh, is that right?
It's true.
Okay.
He's Puerto Rican. He's from the Bronx, or not the Bronx, Brooklyn. Did a little research into the man. I started looking up some stuff.
What else did he do?
A lot of TV.
Yeah.
A lot of TV.
He seems like a TV actor.
A lot of TV. Yeah. But around the same age as Tom Cruise. I think that's why they picked him. It's like they wanted him to be a physical and like kind of almost literal match for him as like the evil Ethan, like what Ethan could have been if he was a bad guy.
Yeah.
But it just didn't work.
Didn't work. Yeah, I mean, everything that it did to tie up all that stuff, the action set pieces, now they're like experienced, and now you've got like more to chew on, and I do think that there are more not better, but more emotional beats that really work for the movie. So, yeah, I think they're interchangeable.
Okay. Well, how do you feel today? Do you want it to be?
I can rock with this. I'm okay with this.
Okay.
I'm okay with this.
Okay. Will you tell me what number 2 is?
Rogue Nation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have Rogue Nation. You're getting you're now we're in the McQuarrie stuff.
Now we're in the end game.
He's making efforts to flesh out Ethan's character. You're getting
loss. His loss.
His loss. You've got Solomon Lane.
Yeah.
You've got like a really. We're back to having like a good villain. It's fantastic.
Yeah, agree.
It's so good.
Everything hits.
Yeah,
and it's a good. I mean, I think the best sort of like setup movie of the franchise.
Yeah,
where it's like these are the pieces that we're gonna play with, and you're in good hands.
Well, and I believe this is the first movie with
McQuarrie.
Well, no, it is the first McQuarrie movie, but I think it's like the first Alec Baldwin one.
Oh yeah.
And I know Rebecca Ferguson has been in the movies for a little bit, but you got like Brant comes back. Yeah, you got Alec Baldwin, and I think this is the first movie where we introduce Angela Bassett as the president. I believe. I could be wrong about that, but I believe this is the first one.
Well, I think wasn't she head of whatever the Impossible Mission, IMF?
Yeah. Was she?
I thought she started as like head of IMF and then eventually became president. I think.
Oh, okay, maybe. I don't know.
Because she was working with what's his nuts in Fallout, right?
Yeah.
So I think she was kind of more grounded.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
It's been a while.
Exactly. So Jesus. We are in agreement then with these top two.
Yeah.
So then we got to go straight into Fallout.
Baby.
It's the one, man.
It's so good.
It's the one.
It's everything that I love about this franchise in one movie.
Yeah, I mean, it's everything that we just said about Rogue Nation, like, turned to 11. You got a great villain.
Yep.
You've got a great twist. Yeah.
Multiple villains.
You got
arm cocking.
Man.
Great, like one of the best action scenes in like a Hollywood movie. Period. So brutal.
Introduction of like a lot of really fun characters. This is the first time where it felt like even some of the throwaway characters were fun to be around and fun to watch and compelling to watch. And it's just I think far and away the best Mission Impossible movie.
Yeah.
It's where everything kind of coalesces and you're like, oh, this is the formula. This is it.
Yeah.
Just make 100 more of these. And that's what they're doing. That's what they did. They were like, oh, we did it. Now let's just do this again and again and again and again.
Yeah, that helicopter scene alone was incredible.
Yeah.
Great stuff. Agreed. That was actually a little easier than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, it was. Okay, so here's the final reckoning. The final ranking.
Yes.
The final ranking.
I almost did a spit take. Yes.
MI2. Worst movie.
Number 8.
Out of all of them. But 8. Ghost Protocol at 7. MI1 at 6. Dead Reckoning at 5. Mission Impossible 3 at 4. Final Reckoning at 3. Rogue Nation at 2. Fallout at 1.
I'm happy with that.
I'm okay with that. Yeah, I'm good with that.
Yeah.
I think that's a good ranking.
What is your ranking, folks?
Please.
Let us know.
Tell us.
Please comment.
Tell us.
Tell us we're idiots.
Yeah.
Please.
That's what I want. The first thing I want is somebody to be like, wrong, and wronger.
I do get the feeling a lot of people are going to say that Final Reckoning deserves to be lower.
And maybe because you brought it up earlier and you're right. Like a lot of people have been kind of more down on MI3.
People hate 3 and I don't really get it.
It's weird because MI3 was just a couple years ago. Everyone was like, yeah. That scene with Philip Seymour Hoffman like shooting her and all that shit, like that's fucking. And now, people are down on it.
Eye like explodes.
Yeah,
it was crazy.
But now, it does feel like everyone's, and maybe it's because
how many bullets do you have left? Enough. He had 1 left.
Come on, man,
incredible.
What's the movie? Which one does he pull off the pole stunt where he like?
Ooh,
Is that?
I
can't remember which one that is.
that's
It's definitely later. I know it's not MI3.
I think that's
know
a
it's
Rebecca
later.
Ferguson one, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's got to be Rogue Nation or Ghost Protocol.
Could be. Yeah,
Yeah.
one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's getting tortured and has to do the whole flippy flip.
Does the and it's practical.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Insane. Man,
I just looked down and like,
oh boy!
I'll get it back together.
Cheers to that, brother. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's talk about more people who are in insane shape.
Yeah, let's do that.
The Orlando Magic, the NBA bath,
Orlando
the NBA
Magic.
team. So this was actually pretty fun because we got into the playoffs, and that was a fun time to be alive, to
Good
be
run.
a Magic fan. Yeah,
Good little
it
run.
was always a foregone conclusion of what was going to happen, and then the rumors started going around that like they're going to revamp some things. And everyone was like, "Oh, that's perfect timing for this." You know,
Yep.
city's kind of up on everything, and also we just ate shit in the playoffs. So, well, how do we bring people back
Yeah.
up? How do we revamp the
Change the storylines.
just and what you do is you change the uniform. I guess
Yeah.
that's what you do. You change the uniform. So they did a whole revamp. By the way, this is very like hyper localized. So if you're not like that into the Magic
Sure.
or sports, then hey, listen, time signatures are there. You can skip right past.
Can't
this.
keep apologizing for our topics.
Exactly,
folks.
exactly, and we're not gonna. This
Let
is
us-
the last one.
Let us know what you want was to talk about.
But they revealed not just new jerseys, new alt jerseys, new colors, new font, like you said.
Yeah.
The arena is gonna be new, like the hardwood, all of
Yeah.
that. Like it's all
Complete
new,
rebrand.
but it's kind of not though.
Yeah.
Which is very interesting about this whole thing. It kind of, I think they finally understood that what makes the Magic like so endearing and long lasting, even though it's one of like the newer teams,
Yeah.
is the branding has always been hard as fuck.
Yeah.
So they kind of skipped past the 2000s and late 90s and went all the way back to like the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
And their official jerseys are going to be like the pinstripes from the late 80s.
Yeah.
So I don't know. You saw the design as well. What do you think?
I like it overall. I think the only one that I'm a little on the fence about is the blue swipe down to the black.
Yeah, like the
pinstripe.
half jersey kind of thing.
I don't like how that looks.
That one's a little weird.
And I know like they show what they're going for, which is the what there's a workout jacket look.
Yeah.
That they showed a picture of like Shaq wearing one. It just in a jersey form, it comes off as like a crop top kind of look.
Yeah.
It looks like Andre the Giant, you know?
Yeah,
or
yeah, like the
Big
one
Show.
singlet.
Yeah. I am not a big fan of that one. Other than that, though, I think it all looks solid, and I think it was super smart for them to go back and do like a retro style, while adding a new thing to the mix, which is the logos and the font.
Yeah.
Which I both think are fine. They look good. I think the logo on its own looks nice, actually.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm all for it. I always like the pinstripe look, and I'm glad they're listening to fans because, I mean the retro jerseys are honest, and I mean this may be nostalgia talking, but for me, always look the best.
Yeah.
Out of all of them.
Yeah,
My
I mean, it feels like every single attempt to modernize basketball uniforms has come with diminishing returns.
Yeah.
Every single, I can't think of one example where the jerseys got better
No.
as they've went along, like the classic jerseys. And yeah, maybe it is nostalgia, but I don't think it is. I just think that truly those older jerseys just looked better.
We reached a design peak with the Hornets
Yeah.
and the Jazz.
Yeah, that was it.
Never got better.
Yeah. when in that era of like the Vancouver Grizzlies.
Oh yeah, that was a good one too.
The Denver Nuggets, like that old school like mountain big logo. The Toronto Raptors with an actual raptor playing basketball.
Yeah, the Raptors was good too.
That like mid to late 90s era.
Yeah,
that was it.
Yep,
that was it. And then after that, they were like, we're gonna go minimal and modern,
sleek,
and we're gonna change everything to just being like the name and a basketball. Sometimes it's not even that. And like when you look at some of the like the most successful franchises, for instance, and look at like how they've kept basically essentially the same design. The Knicks, Bulls, Lakers,
yep,
Boston. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, I'm sure.
As
there are
far
others,
as like
but
classic, like keeping essentially the same design.
Yeah.
And the Magic have been guilty of trying to do like big revamps, like changing the shape of the jersey, revamping the entire like color scheme and everything.
And trying to stay current always makes you look old.
It does.
You know, like just stick with what looks good. Classic is almost always better.
Yeah.
Than trying to be ultra modern, cutting edge. You don't need that.
No, you don't. Especially like when it comes to design. Design never works when you try to stay ahead of the curve. You have to find a timeless thing and you stick with that thing.
Yep.
And I really, really like all of it. I'm not even gonna lie. I think all of it looks really, really cool. I'm a big fan. I'm definitely gonna try to grab like a newer jersey.
Yeah.
I got my classic Tracy McGrady.
T-Mac.
I'd like to get like super old. I want to get like a Shaq jersey or like a Scott Skiles or Nick Anderson or something.
Yeah.
Obviously a Penny jersey if I can find one. But then I'm finally like, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna grab a new jersey because I hate this is like just a pet peeve of mine. I don't like jerseys that do that little like it comes in it kind of cuts in. I fucking
the V
hate
cut.
it.
Yeah.
Jerseys should not be V cut.
No.
They just what are you talking about? A basketball jersey should not be a V cut.
I don't like it.
It should always be rounded.
Yeah.
And the shoulders should always be like maybe 3 inches. It should never be like big.
Sure.
You know, basically a shirt with no sleeves.
Shirt,
yeah.
Yeah.
And so I dig it all the way going back to just the pinstripes.
Yeah.
With like a more modern feel.
I like the kind of thicker borders too in between.
Yes.
It's nice.
Yes. So yeah, I think it was good. I mean, is it gonna? I mean, yeah, you know, you feel good, you smell good, you look good, you play good.
Sure.
You know, James Brown.
I feel good. Da-na-na-na-na-na-na.
All right, let's get right into this massive trailer
jamboree.
Trailer jamboree.
Yes.
All right, as of this recording, it was the State of Play.
Yeah.
It happened two-day
state of play.
So if there was any stuff that was announced after, sorry, we missed it.
We don't care.
Yeah, it doesn't exist to the
No,
One Baron podcast.
Does not.
Let's go through the highlights, our highlights, not
Okay.
the highlights, just the stuff that we dug.
Okay. I think first of all, I'm trying to think of my favorite so far. I mean, I think we should say, just so funny that there was a Ghost of Yote preview to a trailer to say that we will get a gameplay trailer in another month.
Oh, infuriating! As soon as the thing came up,
thing.
I was like, "Oh, cool, gameplay trailer," and it's like, no.
No, I don't think so.
Next
actually,
month you get the game.
You have to
if
wait.
I was Sony, I would have been like, "Go fuck yourself."
Yeah, we're not going to do this.
Yeah, but it's a PlayStation game, isn't it? It's like a Sony game.
It is, yeah.
So
yeah.
they're like, fuck it, put it on there. That was infuriating. I thought that was so dumb.
Okay, so we have a new Marvel fighting game that is not Marvel vs. Capcom.
Yeah,
It is Marvel Tokon. I believe is how you pronounce it. I don't know. I'm not Japanese.
Tokon.
Tokon. Tokon. Yeah, it's made by Arc System Works, which, if you're not a fighting game nerd, is a very well-renowned fighting game developer. So they've done like Guilty Gear.
Yeah.
I think they did the Dragon Ball Fighter Z game.
Okay.
I think. And plenty of others. So they're very well known. I mean, probably the most well respected outside of Capcom.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are like, I saw a tweet that was like, Marvel's like, we allow other people than Capcom to make fighting games for us now.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Well, and it looks like a good investment so far.
It looks great.
Looks amazing.
I'm excited. I am very excited for that. I kind of like Arc Systems games, like how they feel as a fighting game, a little more than Capcom, to be honest with you.
Really?
Yeah. They always look better, in my opinion, and that's led me to have more of an allegiance to even like get to know the games more, because that's kind of entry to any fighting game is like, how does it look?
Yeah.
If it looks cool, I'm going to play it more than one that doesn't. So I'm not a fighting game pro by any means, but that's my entry level, and this looks awesome and also has sort of a Japanese looking twist to all the characters, which I find interesting.
Yeah.
Like Iron Man looks like a mecha,
Yeah.
which is kind of interesting
Yeah.
and cool. So
And,
all that looks cool.
Kamala, she has more of like an anime look.
Yeah.
Than, yeah.
Yeah, like a chibi
Yeah, yeah.
anime girl look.
Yeah, so that was interesting. And the trailer's in Japanese, so it's like, is it going to be just a Japanese game?
No way.
I'd be fine with that.
Yeah, I'm sure they're going to have the language option. We have James Bond. The new James Bond game that's been talked about for a while now.
007, Hitman.
Yes. 007 First Light, which does look like a Hitman game with a 007 skin, which is kind of exactly what you want out of that sort of thing.
Well, just put hair on Agent 47 and, you know.
Give him a wig.
Yeah.
Do you wear wigs?
Do you wear wigs? Do you wear wigs?
I like the fact, actually more than I thought I would, that they're not going for a specific 007. It's not going to be a Pierce Brosnan.
Yeah.
James
well, he
Bond.
looks like Tom Cruise.
He does look like Tom Cruise, but a young Tom Cruise.
A young Tom Cruise.
And it seems like what they're
dare
doing...
I say a Days of Thunder era.
Oh, well, now you know.
Now I get that.
Now you know.
Now I know.
Rubbin's racing. Am I right?
Now I got it.
Yeah.
What a fucking insane movie.
Incredible fever dream of a film. But yeah, I actually like the fact that this is a nondescript James Bond that we've never met before, who seems to be very, very young in his 007 status.
Yeah.
And the early taglines for it were always like, essentially alluding to the fact that you're going to make 007. Like, you're going to start the legend of 007. So this seems like what it's going to be is like essentially like baby's first James Bond, which is cool. I like that. I like that idea. So it looked good. I'm a bit more excited about it now that we have a full trailer for it. So
I guess my only thing with this is it does really, really stink of the family. I forgot their names. The Broccolis.
Yeah.
How could you forget that? It stinks of the Broccolis took too long to decide. So in the meantime, the idea that we had for a movie or a TV show, we're just going to turn into a video game.
Yeah.
Because it looks very cinematic in a way that just strikes me as, I guess, and maybe this is my beef, but I guess I'm starting to get a little tired of just seeing actors that I'm familiar with in video games.
Yeah.
Not to say that I don't want to see more actors. Like I'm fine with actors acting out the roles, being the voice actors and everything. But like when it's just an actor Like their character design is just the actor.
Sure.
I think I'm a little over it. I didn't really like Cal Kestis. I just don't like Cal Kestis as a character. I just think he's boring. Okay. I just think he's like super just vanilla.
Maybe you didn't play him well.
Oh yeah, it's my fault.
Yeah.
No, it's the actor. He's not good.
You control the buttons you press.
No, he's a good actor, but I just don't. Yeah. I just think he was chosen for a reason. I think he's a nondescript looking guy, and I think they did that on purpose. And I think he's like, just not very interesting looking.
Sure. So he's supposed to be a vessel for you as you're a gamer.
Yeah. So I think he's just kind of boring.
Yeah.
But I do like Norman Reedus in Death Stranding.
Yeah.
So I think that works. But then you look at like Joel being voiced by Troy Baker.
Right.
It doesn't look anything like him.
No.
And I think that works. Obviously, it probably, irritated him when they made the TV show and they couldn't cast him because he looks nothing like Joel.
Like they cast him in the side role.
Yeah, he got in it.
Yeah.
But he wanted to be it.
Of course.
When they start talking about that stuff, he's probably sitting at home, like, just looking at his phone, like, they're going to call.
I did it better.
I did the voice, and I couldn't have done any better. Like, there's no way that they're going to just pick some, like...
No. It's like this. Baby girl. Baby girl.
Well, they certainly just won't pick, like a vaguely Latino guy, right? There's no way that they're going to do that.
His last name's Miller.
Yeah, he must be white.
Yes.
Yeah, and I guess so in this game, to bring it back around, this game has a couple of like well-known actors in it that it just kind of strikes me as that's who they would have cast in this movie. And then they would have just got like some young, lesser-known actor to play like a young Bond.
Sure.
They're like, oh, is this the new Bond? No. It's not the new Bond. This is just like a young Bond.
This is young Indiana Jones.
We're not exactly. But they couldn't do it
young Indiana Jones.
because the Broccoli's were so well. They used to be. They used to care a lot about the character. I don't know what happened.
Yeah.
Maybe that's going to be a story. That's a 30 for 30 coming out.
Someone's writing a book on it right now.
Yeah.
Sure.
Not to say that that's a bad thing.
Sure.
For the game.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just kind of threw me off when I first watched it. I guess is all I'm saying.
Well,
looks fun.
This has been in production for a while now, so I think it happened. At least started way before all the controversy with the Broccolis and rights and all that stuff. So
maybe you say that.
Yeah.
But what do you know?
Who knows?
You know?
I don't know.
You don't know.
Do you know?
I don't know.
All right. Next up, we have Pragmata, which is a new Capcom game. Speak of the devil. Looks a bit, at least to me, off first blush, a little like a action Dead Space.
Yeah. Yeah.
The way you control yourself, the sort of exosuit that you have on, all kind of read Dead Space to me.
I got Dead Space meets actually Death Stranding.
Yeah.
I was thinking like
you have a child.
There's going to be something weird with her.
Yeah.
She's obviously like an android or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
We don't know her whole story, but
they talk about AI a lot.
And she has and she has like telekinetic powers and stuff like that. So
you're fighting robots of some kind.
Hopefully you're doing more than that. Just look like this game's pretty early on, but we have enough built out that we can show you this.
Yeah.
Because if it's just puzzles and you're just going through this big old spaceship fighting robots over and over again, I don't know about that.
A little tiring.
Yeah.
A little tiring.
Yeah.
It didn't look like anything new enough to make me go, huh.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep note of that one.
Yeah.
It seems fine. I don't know.
Yeah. It seems like one of those games that's just going to kind of come and go. Like a 7 out of 10. Like,
probably.
It's probably pretty good.
Probably
won't ever play it. I don't have the time to.
If it's like an 8 and up, generally, it'll catch my attention. But otherwise, it just feels like we've kind of been there and done it before.
Yeah. I just feel like I'm at a stage of my life where I just don't have the time to play, an okay game. Somebody's like, you can sink a couple hours into like, no, dude, no. If I'm gonna like, first of all, if I'm not gonna play Marvel Rivals, then it's gotta be something that has taken me away from my grind back to GM.
I rarely have time for okay movies, and that's a generally 2-hour experience.
Right.
So I'm not going to drop 15 plus hours in something that's just okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, speaking of something else that kind of rocks the boat a bit more than this other game is a game called Romeo is Dead Man.
Romeo is Dead Man.
Was a dead man, excuse me. Romeo must die.
Well, he did, apparently.
He did. This is a game by Suda51 and Grasshopper Games, I believe. Don't quote me on that.
I won't.
But Suda51 is known for making weird-ass games. So, especially like No More Heroes and...
I like No More Heroes.
Killer 7 and plenty of others that are weird, wacky games. And this seems to be following through with that for a new generation. So I love the different art styles. It feels very Smiling Friends. That especially this last season where they had guest animators come in, and I feel like this game was inspired by that.
Yeah.
And I like that they're hinting at the fact that there's going to be like 2D elements, there's going to be like anime elements, there's hyper realistic elements, and it seems very strange, but ultimately like a cool action game that otherwise wouldn't really be noteworthy without all the flash and all that storytelling weirdness that we've come to know and love from Suda51.
Yeah, it was a real the trailer's like really fucking weird.
Yeah,
so I was on the edge of my seat just thinking like, this is so weird. It's just weird enough that it got my attention. Actually, the opposite of some of the other stuff where it's like, like Pragmata was okay.
Yeah.
This actually, I was like, huh, all right.
Yeah.
This looks pretty fun and strange and kind of mind-bendy, and, you know, just kind of like you let the writers kind of just do whatever they want.
Yeah.
I was into it. I will say I was a little disappointed that the opening scene looked like really weird, and I love the art style.
Yeah.
I was like, this is kind of strange and
Very
kind of
like hand drawn.
and then it cuts to the actual gameplay, and it kind of looked a little more traditional. And I was a little disappointed. I'm not gonna lie. I thought it was gonna be like 2D cell shaded, you know,
which some parts of it may be.
Yeah, it looks like there was flashes of it. So I hope that maybe it's an equal parts all of these different genres of video game. Excuse me. But yeah, it appears that the main story is going to be in the more traditional
Japanese action game.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Agreed.
That looks pretty fun.
Yeah. Lastly, of the ones that we watched, Silent Hill F.
Yeah.
Very Fatal Frame.
Yeah.
Japanese schoolgirls in a very scary, haunted Japan. Ethereal Japan. I think I read somewhere that this takes place in like the 60s in Japan, so it's kind of a period piece in that way. And it even being in Japan is strange for the series because they've all been in America.
Yeah.
So I think that alone makes it unique in the franchise for sure, but also lends it to a lot of interesting cultural changes within the story and a lot of places they haven't really touched on, because this seems to be more about like school bullying and trauma and things like that, and loneliness, and sort of more of a kid's perspective in this Silent Hill world that we're not used to seeing. It's usually a
dark adult story,
an older man
Yeah.
who's looking for his wife, and that sort of thing. So
I am an older man looking for my wife.
yes, please. So I find this interesting. I think it's going to be it's an interesting zag for the franchise after obviously people were super disappointed by the fact that Silent Hills never came to fruition. So, I think with the remake of 2, they have some momentum, and so I have pretty high hopes for Silent Hill F, actually.
It looks really, really creepy, really. I mean, Final. I was gonna say Final Destination for some reason, which it doesn't look like a Final Destination game. It doesn't look like that at all.
Fatal Frame.
Fatal Frame, yeah. But more so than that, like, I wonder, because what we got was just a teaser, and I wonder, like, how much are they going to? Because, like, the other Silent Hill games, they kind of the character design is really important.
Yeah.
As to like the like
theme.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And I wonder, because they alluded to that obviously with like the villains, the enemies rather.
Yeah.
Looking like her friend. Mm-hmm. Or maybe they are mirror images of her.
Sure. Yeah. They look like dolls.
Yeah.
So maybe there's something with manipulation.
Yeah.
Something to that effect.
Yeah. So it's like a compelling, like, okay, where are they going to go with this? How are they going to do this? How are they going to implement these things? And ultimately, what are they trying to say with this game? Because it feels like every Silent Hill game, they're always trying to ultimately tell like this kind of deeper story, not making a point per se, but like just telling a weirder,
there's
darker
a theme.
Yeah,
it's very Jacob's Ladder.
Yeah.
Where like the bad guys are all thematically tied into some kind of trauma.
Yeah. So it looks pretty cool.
Yeah.
Have I ever talked about how weird I think Japanese naming conventions are?
How so?
What does F mean?
You mean like as far as like naming games and movies and stuff?
Yeah. They're always so... And it's obviously that I don't understand the culture enough to understand like why some of these things are the way that they are.
You are not alone with this one in particular, especially because people were starting to speculate that is the F. Does that mean like the musical forte? Because it's written in that sort of cursive font.
Yeah,
and it looks like a forte sign in music. So is like the main character going to be a musician of some kind? Maybe she's taking music class, whatever. And so it becomes part of the mystery, at least as far as this game goes. Others, I don't know.
It always feels like it's something that I just don't get.
Metaphor Refantasio?
Yeah. I mean, what are we talking about?
Yeah.
There's some things like, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. All of that makes sense. Full Metal Alchemist doesn't really make that much sense. I mean, it literally makes sense.
Sure,
but like... It's not. It doesn't make sense as a name. Full Metal Alchemist is literally describing.
Yeah, I think Full Metal, calling something Full Metal means it's like hardy and strong.
Right.
So
right.
I think that's the naming convention. It sounds weird. It's not. It doesn't read naturally to an American audience.
No. Attack on Titan.
Yeah.
That like, given what the show is about, it makes sense. Literally, they are attacking these Titans,
but they're not on.
I mean, I guess literally they are on them. They do have to get on them to like slice their neck to kill them, right? Sure. But it doesn't like the
Attack
name
on Titan
itself
sounds like a sci-fi thriller that there's a planet called Titan that they're infiltrating.
Yeah. Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Balls are the Dragon Balls.
Sure.
Z is just like that's cool. That's all it is. Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball GT. They're like, this is getting even cooler.
This is Gran Turismo version. Yeah.
And then Dragon Ball Super. No.
Super's fine.
No. Because you can't go from Z to GT to Super.
Sure.
No. Super is less than GT, and I'd even argue maybe even less than Z.
Yeah.
Not giving it to him.
Okay.
And it's more. It's more. There's so many others.
It's more.
Like some of them make sense. One Piece. They're looking for the One Piece. I get that. Mm-hmm. I Cowboy Bebop is a little weirder, but it's fun at least.
Though.
It makes. But see, Cowboy Bebop is at
like
least
the theme of the show,
and it's a fun kind of like Pulp Fiction quote unquote like that. It works.
Sure.
It's not like some strange, like grammatically they're weird a lot of times.
Yeah.
And that is obviously like the well, and you know what? I'm not even going to say that because I don't know for sure if that's even like a language barrier or if they're just like, it sounds cool. Like, if I would love to talk to one of these guys who created these shows and be like, why did you name it that? Because it just sounds cool.
Yeah.
But are you concerned about the grammatical weirdness of it when it hits
Certainly
the English
not.
ear? Yeah. Fuck America.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Sure.
I don't care what you guys think.
You guys will still buy it. Don't worry.
Yeah, and not even think twice about it.
Yeah. You actually will buy it more because you think it sounds really Japanese.
Right. The weirder it is, the more...
The better, baby.
Like, yeah. If I can't understand what this is even
More
about...
authentic.
Yeah. So, I get that. But even as a kid, I always used to... I'm like, what? Why did they name it like that?
Yeah.
So weird.
Yeah.
So weird.
Yep.
I'm not mad at it, though. I'm a little mad at it.
A little
Not
mad.
gonna lie.
A
I'm
little
little
mad.
I
Silent
wish it
little
made.
F.
I wish it made just a little bit more sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, you got Gundam, and then you got Gundam Wing. What does that mean? Because
Well-
a lot of the Gundams had wings, and it's not the wing of the military because they've. It's always been a military industrial complex
it would
thing.
make way more sense if it was the wing of the military, though.
Yeah.
Like the Gundam wing. They're
Yeah,
in the Gundam wing.
yes. And you know what? When I was a kid, that's what I thought it meant. This is the Gundam wing of the military.
I always thought it was just in reference to like Wing Zero specifically because it was the one that had literal wings eventually.
right.
You know, like bird wings.
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
it.
And it probably is just as simple as it's just a reference to the main character.
Yeah.
Fine.
And Wing Zero transforms into an actual like jet.
Yeah.
So
he has like literal
wings.
Wings.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I get that. But he's not the only one.
No. Far from.
And it's not the first time.
Yeah. Who can say?
Anyway.
Who can say?
Maybe for a different podcast.
Yeah.
I can keep beating this drum. But we don't have the time.
No.
The drum that we're beating is the Tudum.
Tudum.
I just want to say, as far as naming conventions go,
Yeah.
terrible. Terrible.
I think it's a little cute.
I hate it. When I saw it written out, and I was like,
Tudum.
and I was like, oh, it made me groan. Oh, my eyes rolled into the back of my head. I wanted to break something when I realized it was, Tudum.
Tudum.
And like, Tudum, this isn't just, this is everything. This is their festival, and it's like, this is the stuff that we're going to be putting out in the next, right? This is like their state of play, basically.
It's their Netflix's slate of what's coming out next.
Hate it. But
Interviews. They have I think they have like the press screenings and stuff, and the whole kit and caboodle.
yeah, Netflix is like the little boy that could turn into the multi-billion-dollar commodity that won't stop.
They keep trying.
They just keep going. So I'll just, full transparency, I do not have a Netflix subscription right now because you know what? I'm gonna say this right into the camera. I'm better than you. Okay, let me tell you something. While he looks up the dumb stuff, the dumb stuff. Let me tell you something, and you can track this. You can go back on the old episodes of the pod. Come here, look at me. You can go back on the old episodes, and when they started doing that password sharing bullshit, I said, if this comes to pass, I've been using a friend's Netflix, and if it comes to pass, guess what? You just lost a customer, Netflix. And the rest of you out there, you were like, yeah, Marco, we agree. And you all said, we're going to band together, and we are not going to renew our Netflix subscriptions. We're not going to give them any more money. They're taking advantage of the customer base. And then what did you actually do? What did you all actually do? Well,
Nothing.
Nothing. You let it happen. And you know what? I didn't. Because I'm already paying for enough subscriptions that I couldn't afford to add another one. And it just so conveniently was Netflix that I wasn't adding. But that doesn't change the fact that I'm better than you. Okay? Because I stood on my words.
Yeah.
I stood on my testimony, which was that Netflix is not going to get a fucking dime from me so long as they do this password non-sharing bullshit.
Which will be forever and ever.
Forever and ever. So I guess I'll never have a Netflix subscription ever again.
Yeah. HBO's going to start doing the same thing. So,
well, I don't think I share that with anybody right now.
No.
I do pay for that.
I was going to say you are good on that end because
Yeah.
you actually pay for it.
Yeah. Well, don't say it like that. I pay for stuff.
For a change, you know. It's good that you pay for something. Okay, so brief rundown of the things that were announced at 2025 Tudum. Squid Game Season 3.
It's growing on me.
Haven't seen Season 2, so don't.
Oh, yeah. Me neither.
Yeah.
I forgot that it even came out.
For me, it took, I think, too long for Season 2 to come out. That, like, the initial, like, wave of, like, oh, this is really cool, and, like, this is the zeitgeist right now, kind of came and went.
Yeah, that was fun.
I was like,
to be a part of the whole thing.
yeah.
I'll also say this. The creator of the show really, like, threw a wet blanket on the fire of the show by kind of being like, I mean, Netflix is going to make the show anyway, so I might as well. Like, he really was like,
I see.
you know that he didn't want to do it. The whole thing just seemed like Netflix, again, and it is what it is. It's just, this is life in America and pop culture and everything. Sure. But they struck gold, and they were like, well, let's do everything that we can to bring it back. So they had the game show, which was disgusting. Oof. And then they brought back the Season 2, which I know that the creator kind of left it cliffhangy just in case, but he very clearly was like, I want it to just live on. I don't want to keep doing this. The point was not to turn this into a franchise. The point was to make a point about commercialization, about commodities, about capitalism. That was the point of the show.
I will say the end of the series of Season 1, not the series, of just Season 1, really was kind of that wet blanket for me alone. Because it was like, really? Like, this is how we're just gonna leave it open to do more? It just didn't, it felt really rushed and shoehorned in, and I can't help but feel like that was pressured from outside entities.
I mean, Netflix probably saw the first couple of episodes and was like,
don't kill him.
Yeah.
Keep it open. Make him agree to keep going with this contest. Even though, like, logically it makes no sense.
No, it makes zero sense.
No
There's
sense
no
at all.
reason for him to do. And maybe they explain that in the second season.
Could be. I don't know. I haven't seen it yet because the end of Season 1 had me like, really? We're going to do this again?
I can't see myself watching Season 2 or 3.
There's plenty of other great TV. Maybe I'll get to it at some point, but I don't really.
I already
care
watched
for
the
now.
Mr. Beast Squid Games.
The Beast Games.
The Beast Games. And that's all I needed. Thanks, Mr. Beast.
Yeah, no, I didn't do that. Also, we have in better news, Wake Up Dead Man, a Knives Out mystery.
Yeah.
That trailer looks awesome.
Yeah.
As I said before, as long as they keep making these movies, I will watch them.
Yeah.
And this one seems to be more of like a gothic horror thriller, which has me excited for them to have a little shift.
Honestly, man, some of the stuff that we're going to get through is like, put it in theaters.
Absolutely.
I don't want to subscribe to this. I just want to watch it.
Well, and the next one that I talk about is 100% how I feel about what you're saying. But this movie has Daniel Craig, Glenn Close, Josh Brolin, Mila Kunis, Jeremy Renner, Kerry Washington, Kaylee Spaney, and Daryl McCormick.
Come on. Written
and directed by Ryan Johnson.
Stacked.
Yeah.
Why is that not in theaters?
Should be. One Piece.
Yeah.
Live action One Piece, I should say.
Sure.
They show the little bear guy or whatever.
Whatever.
Bear deer man.
I mean, I guess we're supposed to care about that sort of thing.
Tony Chopper is his name.
His name's Tony Chopper?
Sure is.
All right, I like that. All right, fine.
You got me.
Fine.
So the one I was talking about that I'm actually excited about that I wish was going to be a theater-only experience is Guillermo del Toro's long-anticipated Frankenstein movie.
Hell yeah.
It just seems like more than anything he's ever worked on, like this is Guillermo del Toro's baby. Like, it seems like this is the story that he's been waiting to tell forever. And I'm so excited to see what he does with this. My anticipation is at an all-time high. I think the trailer looks great. Oscar Isaac seems like a great Frankenstein. And Jacob Elordi, I think, is going to be a great monster.
Yeah.
He's
a big
that
doofy looking.
He's got that brow.
Anyway, yeah.
Got that big old brow.
That big old brow.
No prosthetics needed.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think all the Mia Goth, perfect for this movie.
Yeah.
You know, like, I just think all the pieces are in play. I think it is Guillermo del Toro's movie to lose, essentially.
Yeah.
So,
and he don't lose often.
He don't. I have full confidence in this man. So, yeah, we'll see how that turns out. I do hope and wish that they would put it in theaters, though.
Yeah. Well, get that stuff out of your head, man.
All right.
It ain't happening.
Okay.
All right, so just move on.
Well, next up we have Happy Gilmore 2, featuring Bad Bunny.
Bad Bunny.
I'm
not, like, mad at this.
It's fine. It's been long enough.
Yeah, you know? I think if ever there was going to be, like, a sequel to, like, a silly movie from the 90s, a lot of times they pick, like remaking, like, the first movie that popped in my head, I don't know why, was the remake of Point Break.
Oh, yeah.
You take a charming movie like that and then you turn it into like a dull action movie, and it's like, yeah, you're gonna lose the essence of what made that thing. Yeah. But I'm gonna say this,
Roadhouse.
And Roadhouse, another one where you just like you take the charm and the like weirdness of it, because it is a really weird movie when you rewatch it. It's very strange,
very hybrid movie.
Yeah, a lot of homoeroticism in it. Just a very
martial arts, country western themes.
Yeah. And then, like, in some points, it gets, like, insanely violent.
Graphically violent, yeah.
It's a strange movie.
It's a love story.
You can't recreate that. And that's why the Jake Gyllenhaal one it's a serviceable movie. It's fine. It's whatever. It's fine. But Roadhouse is a classic because it's so weird, and you could only make a movie like that in the 80s because it's like, well, let's just throw it all against the wall and see what sticks.
A lot of cocaine.
A lot of cocaine.
Yeah.
People are too sober nowadays. That's the lesson here. What was I going to say? Oh, Happy Gilmore.
Yes.
So I'm going to say this, and I don't mean this personally to Adam Sandler or Adam Sandler fans or fans of his, like, little golden era that he had in the 90s.
Yeah.
But even his best movies aren't that good. Happy Gilmore is good for what it is. I'm not saying that I don't enjoy the movie. I love Happy Gilmore. I love Billy Madison.
School.
I love
Back to School.
Waterboy.
Of course.
And I love Big Daddy.
Yeah.
I do. I love his little, like, golden era. I am an Adam Sandler fan, but, like, take yourself out of it for a second and really extrapolate.
I noticed you didn't say Little Nicky.
Dude, did I tell you I rewatched that the other?
You did.
That movie.
We talked about it off mic. Yeah.
Okay, that movie's awful.
Not good.
That movie sucks.
Not a good movie.
I can't believe how bad that movie is.
The shark was fully jumped at that point.
On rewatch. Oh my God. Horrendous. Yeah. Horrendous. I barely finished it because I was like, this is unwatchable. There are moments in this where I'm like, get in the flash. Get in the flash. Get in the flash. Oh man, it's bad. It's bad.
You can tell
I want to touch your hiney.
It's like, I have this character, guys. Hear me out.
Yeah.
And you're like, all right, sure.
He based 90 minutes off of a bad accent.
It was a bad SNL sketch.
Yeah.
That never was.
Yeah. it was a dress rehearsal that turned into a 90-minute movie. Yeah.
That would have been cut from the show.
Yeah. And the star power he got to be in that movie is almost just as shocking. Yeah. You know, when you watch it back, you're like, it really lends credence to the theory that, like, Adam Sandler gets stuff done because he's so friendly, because people in the industry love him so much. It has nothing to do with the scripts. It is he'll write something like Grown Ups.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm gonna write this movie for all my friends.
Parts
We're gonna
1
get
and 2.
together, and but the second one, I think they go to they just vacation.
Yeah.
You know, he has that one movie with Jennifer Aniston where he's like, we're gonna go to Hawaii, and I guarantee you, he just wrote that movie because he wanted to go to Hawaii, and he like a tax write off. He just was like, fuck it.
And it probably made money.
Oh yeah, you know it did.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's part of, or at least started this Netflix partnership that he has, where they paid him they gave him the keys to
to go have vacations with his friends.
So this Happy Gilmore thing, I'm not mad at. This is one of the rare instances where I'm like, fuck it, let's see what they can do. The movie that the sequel or the original movie is not that. It's not like they're remaking or doing a sequel to some masterpiece. You know what I'm saying? Sure. That's basically the point that I'm trying to make. It's
a very low stakes sequel.
That's
legacy sequel
in the most succinct way.
Yeah,
that's exactly what.
Yeah. I agree. I feel the same way. I mean, it looks silly. It looks in the same spirit as the original. We'll see. Who cares?
Who cares? Who cares?
It's fine. They got Ben Stiller back.
Not going to be. So there's nothing to be. I can't rise above a 4 or 5 on the emotional level on this one. You know what I mean?
And you know what? That is perfectly fine.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. We'll see. Maybe we'll be surprised and it's going to be hilarious.
Yeah.
Even if it's just a little funny, worth it.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Fine.
Okay.
This thing I do have.
I was going to say.
I have opinions.
I will say they added something about Wednesday season 2. There's a new movie with Affleck and Damon called The Rip.
I'm into that.
A crime thriller, apparently.
Yeah.
But the one that everyone's been talking about, obviously, is Stranger Things season 5, having the release dates, and trailer,
plural.
So, 4 episodes will arrive November 26th. 3 more will arrive Christmas Day, and the grand finale will arrive New Year's Eve.
Who is this for?
It is for Netflix because they don't want people to get a trial and watch it all.
I mean, that very clearly is it.
Yes.
Yeah, that's very clearly
That's all it is.
Yeah.
I hate to burst anyone's bubble that thinks it's anything more than that.
It's not deeper than that.
It's not deeper than that. They try to find a way to make it so people don't do what they've done since day one, which is, Stranger Things is coming out. Okay, cool. I'll get the 1 week free trial, watch it all, and then cancel.
How many people? Okay, and this kind of goes back to my little rant there in the beginning. But how many people, how many millions of subscribers do you think? They must have done the math on this, or at least some kind of speculatory math on this. How many people do you think is worth it for them to prod into a Netflix subscription, thinking that this will be enough to get them to hang around for 3 months at the expense of everyone else who is at the expense of their reputation as a service? Because this is so clearly manipulative and fucked up. The only thing that I can think is that they're still filming and it's not done. And we don't know if those dates are actual real dates, except for the first one.
Children are all 30 years old now.
Dude, I mean, I saw the press photo of them.
Yeah.
They're genuine adults now.
Yes, they are.
And again,
the time jump isn't enough even.
It's not enough. It's not enough. It has been so long since they started this show that the first time jump is not enough because these kids keep aging. Because that's what human beings do.
Sure.
They age and they keep getting older. Why wouldn't you do a TV movie time jump wherein they are actual adults.
Yeah.
Why would you do this like post-adolescence but pre-adulthood thing, knowing full well that the black kid has like a full beard now?
Well, to be fair, they hired him when he was already like 20. So
and that's the thing though, like
there was no foresight. There was no foresight.
Exactly.
I guarantee they were like, "Oh my god, this got way bigger than we anticipated."
Sure. But why not? I mean, like, it just feels like we're being cheated by everything now, man. It feels like everything is just like we're getting the weaker, cheaper version of everything. And it's like, why?
Ain't that America?
I'm just like, I don't even want to go into all, because this is I could spend another hour on this.
We don't have enough beer.
But just as it pertains to Stranger Things, it just feels like such a cop-out, such a lazy way to handle this.
Yeah.
Why wasn't this show mapped out, filmed, ready to go? It's like I don't think fans of the show are even being too pushy or whiny about this.
Sure.
They used to do this all the time.
Yeah.
Pirates of the Caribbean was a surprise smash success. And then you know what they did with 2 and 3? Filmed them simultaneously because they were like, we got a smash on our hands. Let's finish this story. Back to the Future did the same thing. Lord of the Rings. Yes. They filmed those movies concurrently.
Yeah.
Those are bigger productions than fucking Stranger Things.
Yeah.
Why are we like? It just feels like every turn. It feels like we're getting just fucking cheated all the time, man.
I would say an even bigger disappointment was the latest Star Wars trilogy.
Dude, I mean, again, that could be a whole other podcast episode. Yeah. But yes,
how do you do that?
How do you do that?
Even
with the biggest franchise of all time? How do you do that?
Even if you don't care about the art itself, or I will even degrade it by saying the content itself.
Sure.
How do you not realize you're losing money by not having a succinct, well thought out plan?
Right.
I understand things happen and you have to zig and zag a little bit, but there should have been an idea for where these things will go.
And then the stuff that they came up with was so bad that it was clear that there wasn't one.
Correct.
And that's what's happening with Stranger Things. It is clear that there wasn't a plan on how to finish this in an efficient way.
Yeah.
And that's why you let all of them drop indie albums and film a bunch of terrible Netflix movies.
Get a TikTok hit.
Be pro-Zionism. That's why you let all of this shit happen.
Yeah.
Because you very clearly don't have a plan.
Yeah.
And so now we're all supposed to what? Just come running back to Netflix to watch 4 episodes in November. How many episodes in December?
3
on Christmas Day.
Yeah.
Are you out of your mind?
And then
what family do you think? Who are you advertising to? Who do you think is sitting around opening presents on Christmas and then watching a horror TV show?
I guarantee they're going to bring back the Christmas lights.
Oh, man. And then the grand finale on New Year's.
Yeah. Yeah.
What are you talking about?
They want everyone to have a New Year's party
and watch a TV show.
Stranger Things. Everyone's gonna be talking about it.
I want to throw this mic like fucking Jim Morrison, bro. Like it's like I'm at a loss.
Yeah, it all sucks. It all sucks, and that's coming from someone who actually enjoyed the last season. It has been so long since that last season. I am fully out again. I don't like you had me.
Yeah.
You had me back.
Yeah.
I waded my way through this entire franchise that was mostly bad outside of the first season. And you got me back, and now it's squandered. First of all, because it took too long. Secondly, because of this entire fiasco of putting it out in 3 separate parts. I'm not gonna pay attention that long to it.
No.
I don't care that much. Who does?
And why should you? Who does?
Who does anymore? It's over.
These shows started. My niece was, and she was a baby basically.
Yeah.
When this show started, and she would come to me, Uncle Marco, did you see the latest Strange? I had to watch this show just to keep up and be able to talk to her about Stranger Things.
Sure. Yeah.
Now she's about to graduate high school.
Yeah.
And we haven't finished the show yet.
No. And we won't until the end
And
of
it's
this
only
year.
5 seasons. That's the craziest part about all of this.
Yeah.
If we were talking about like a Grey's Anatomy and we were on season 21 or 22,
Right.
then I'd be like, yeah, man, I'm getting sick of it. I'm kind of tired of it. But whatever.
Yeah.
We're 4 seasons in.
Yeah.
And they're like, gonna have to wait a little bit longer.
You're
You're gonna love
this
it, though.
baby out.
You're gonna love it, man. If they don't stick this landing, this could be on like Game of Thrones level failure of last season's.
I pose to you, my friend, how can they at this point? How can they stick the landing?
Well, I will say this. To your point, the last season was pretty good.
It was.
It was good.
It was.
And so I think that I think essentially it's impossible because of everything that we just talked about. I think it's impossible for them to really stick the landing, but I do think that it's like in sports, man. You win and everything is and all is forgiven. Win and all is forgiven. If the show comes out and these like 7-8 episodes are good and it's like a good and like a Breaking Bad level, like, oh, that was a good finale. That was really well
satisfying.
done. Yeah, and everyone's like, man, that was sad, but that was well done.
Yeah. Cathartic.
I do think that people are dumb and people are people are strange and people are forgiving. And I do think that if it works, people will just kind of forget how long all of this should like. I think in the grand scheme of things, it'll become a meme in the history of the show, and everyone will look back and say,
for the last season of Stranger Things.
right. And it's the same thing with like GTA. Like, oh, we got this thing before we got GTA.
Yeah.
But when GTA 6 comes out and it's awesome, those memes go away and everybody just forgets about that kind of shit, right? Yeah. So I do think that as long as it's good, people are going to have short-term memory loss with that.
Sure.
But we will never forget.
No.
You and I.
No.
Not the One Baron podcast.
Very petty.
Yeah. It's documented.
Very petty.
And I'm really angry about it.
Yeah. Me too. Me too.
I'm not even, I'll say this. I'm not even that mad about. I am mad that they broke it up in 3 parts.
Yeah.
I do think that is infuriating. And it makes me want to strangle like all of the Netflix CEOs and like everybody who was involved in making that decision. It makes me want to like go on a murderous rampage.
Okay.
I will say though that it's the dates that are so insulting.
Yeah.
They're like, what do you have to do on Christmas?
Why not do the finale on like, Halloween?
Why November? Why start it in November?
Yeah. I mean, that has to be because they're fixing up the effects and stuff.
Has to be.
Yeah.
Has to be.
Yeah.
And they're giving them just a little bit of time. But you know what? Just don't even announce it. Just drop them. Boom. Do you know what would happen when people logged into Netflix?
Suddenly.
Stranger Things is on their front
Yeah.
page and it's like, wait, are they trying to show us oh my God, season 5? People would cream in their fucking jeans.
Yeah,
brother. They would cream in their jeans.
Do the Beyonce.
Yeah, just surprise drop it on them. Bonk them over the head with fucking season 5.
Yeah.
And I'll even say this. I'll throw them a little bone here. I do agree that the way that people engage with TV, and we talked about this on the podcast, the way that people engage with this kind of stuff is not good. It's weird. And I do think a show like Stranger Things it's so compelling and so like zeitgeist fulfilling, I guess.
Yeah.
That it is to their detriment to just drop all the episodes all at once.
Yeah.
Other TV shows have learned, other networks have learned that it's okay to kind of go back to the old school weekly thing.
Do it weekly.
Why can't Netflix just do that? They are well within their powers to just no. Instead, 4 episodes, boom, dropped on you.
3.
And then some character's going to die
Yeah.
at the end of those 4 episodes,
Yeah.
probably the redhead. That's my prediction, by the way. I think she dies.
Well, she already got like super injured, so
Yeah, and I think it's the swerve. I think it's the Glenn swerve. I think they nurse her back to health.
And
you think
she
shit is
dies
sweet for
anyway.
4 episodes. They take her from you anyway.
Yeah.
Or they go for the like core 4, right? Finn Wolfhard,
Yeah.
or the kid with the weird teeth, or
Okay.
I don't know his name.
Sure.
Magnus.
Magnus?
I think that's his name.
I don't think it's Magnus.
No, I mean, I think that's his real name. Hold on. Hold on. Wait a minute. Hold on. I think, though, that if it's not the redhead, then it's one of the core. It's not Magnus. It's it's not even close.
Certainly not Magnus.
It's Gatton Matarazzo.
Okay.
Matarazzo.
Yeah.
And the character's name is Dustin Henderson. Sorry.
I think it's Gayton.
Gayton
Matarazzo.
Matarazzo.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gayton makes more sense. Gatton's not a name.
No.
Gayton could be a name, though.
Yeah.
They all have really weird names. Millie Bobby Brown, Finn Wolfhard, Noah Schnapp, Caleb McLaughlin, Sadie Sink.
They're all fake names.
Yeah, none of these. Joe,
Matarazzo.
even like Joe is fine, but Kiri, that's not a
yeah.
last name. David Harbour. Why isn't it David Harborough? It should be David Harborough, but it's David Harbour.
Yeah. With
Natalia
the English spelling of
Dyer.
Harbor.
Natalia Dyer. That's not a real name.
No.
Charlie Heaton actually just sounds like a name. That's
fine.
That's
That's
fine.
fine.
Winona Ryder, love you.
Uh-huh.
Maya Hawke, sure. Dacre.
Montgomery.
That's not a real name. Joseph
Quinn.
Quinn. That works. That's an actor's name. Joseph
Yeah,
Quinn.
sure is.
That's an actor's name.
Yeah.
Matthew Modine.
Matthew Modine. Yeah, legend.
Yeah. So, so on and so forth. Anyway, I'm ready to move on.
Okay. All right. That's fine. That's enough.
I think we've done enough
enough.
on that. Yeah.
I mean, that's all I got.
Okay.
That's all I got on Tudum.
So, let me ask you this.
Okay.
Netflix as a thing with this Tudum festival
Yeah.
and all of this stuff that they've announced and everything, is any of this compelling enough to change your opinion on just the fact that, like, Netflix, and maybe I'm leading the witness here a little bit, but
okay.
I just, like, Netflix has the reputation of it has a handful of cool things,
Yeah.
and then the rest of it is just kind of overblown, expensive bullshit. Did anything that was announced at this festival rise above that for you?
The only thing that did is Frankenstein.
Right.
That is the only thing.
And that one's really strange, honestly.
Yeah, it's
by
weird.
Netflix's standards.
It's weird. It's weird that they have that, but you know, it's a great get. Obviously for me. Yeah, I mean that, and the fact that they have the rights to the Knives Out series now. I think that's a great get for them as well. But I think outside of those two, no, there's nothing else there.
Bless you. They're coming for you.
Oh no! Oh no!
Bro.
Yeah, I mean, I think outside of that, there's really not much of a huge thing that I'm anticipating from Netflix. Of course, there's stuff that's always been there that, you know, I'd love to go back and watch and whatnot, but nothing in the way that, like, there's stuff always coming out on HBO where it's like, okay, the latest movie that I missed while it was in theaters is here now. I'm going to go see it on HBO.
Yeah.
Or this classic is out on HBO now. Or this original HBO series, which they have so many of and continue to make these, you know, kind of culture-shifting TV shows. There's nothing like that on Netflix right now.
Right.
Everything Netflix has, such as the Squid Game, seems to kind of hit really hard, super fast, and then disappear almost as quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So it seems more like a junk food kind of service as opposed to, you know, real meat and potatoes quality that HBO has.
Yeah. And, you know, excuse me, even HBO, like, their level of quality of TV show, like, even if they drop their stuff all at once. I just feel like their production quality is so much higher.
Yeah.
That like, even if you consumed it as fast as you consume a Netflix show, it still would be different.
Yeah.
Still would be different. So I don't know. Not to say that any of this matters to Netflix. They don't give a shit. They're still they're gonna make their money hand over fist. Whatever.
Yeah.
We can't end on that note though.
Okay.
We got to end on an upswing.
Okay.
And so it's time for the cheers of the week. Obi, tell the people your cheers, buddy.
My cheers of the week goes to Marc Maron's WTF podcast. I mean, one of the first to do it.
Yep.
Modern podcasting format interview show. Marc Maron, stand-up comic, political commentator, and much more. Recently announced that close. Recently announced that the long-running WTF podcast will be ending this year. So the end is nigh. But I just want to give a little tip of the hat to, one of the most influential podcasters of all time. And continues to be a great comic. He keeps showing up on TV shows and movies, doing his thing. It just sounds like it was kind of time for them to put an end to this show that they've been doing for so long, him and his producer. So wish him well. I think the show will live on as one of the best podcasts, especially from the early era, to ever do it and have, people like the President of the United States on the show.
Yeah.
Which is a pretty big deal. So, well, at least used to be.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Now he'll go on YouTube channels.
Any bro.
Yeah. Any bro who wears that. Never mind.
Okay. But yes, tip of the hat. Cheers of the week to Mr. Marc Maron and his WTF podcast.
I just want to add to that essentially the show exists because of Marc Maron.
Yes. We bask in the shadow of Marc Maron and the WTF podcast. So
it was the first podcast that I seriously listened to. I knew what podcasts were.
Sure.
And I kind of like dipped my toe into, audiobooks and certain things that were like podcast adjacent. But it was essentially the first thing that I ever listened to that I was like, this is a medium that I think we could get into.
Yeah.
And when we the infant stages of this show, like everything went back to how would Marc Maron do it?
Yeah.
And how does it sound when Marc Maron does this? And like,
why don't we sound like that?
Yeah, how come we don't sound like... I mean, essentially it was this, it was Nerdist, and it was the Joe Rogan Experience.
Yeah.
That I was listening to. I think we would come together and talk about like, did you listen to that episode? Did you hear what this guy said? Did you?
Yeah.
Like that was essentially the birth of this show.
Yeah. And a lot of the, like early IGN podcasts.
Yeah. The
video
kind of
game
funnies,
podcasts, kind of funny beforehand.
So yeah, it I think it's not hyperbolic to say that like this show and many, many, many others would not exist. You think fucking Dax Shepard would be doing a podcast if Marc Maron hadn't started WTF?
Yeah.
Like all these fucking pseudo celebrities that are like, I'm going to talk about my problems on a podcast. Like you owe your career rebirth to Marc Maron. You do. You do. So
semi-political podcasts, interview podcasts, anyone who crosses between those two, I think, is
every interview that we've ever done on here. I was like, I hope, like I just ripped off Marc Maron.
Yeah,
like I wanted it to have that kind of vibe.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's sad to see it go, but nothing lasts forever, I guess. Although it's a podcast, it just feels like he could do it until he died. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
Like he could die like while recording an episode.
I mean, it's not to say he won't do another podcast, but I guess he's done with the format of WTF at very least.
Yeah.
So
I don't know.
And it seems like he's getting busy with doing movies and TV, and
yeah. Hopefully, he's just more successful now and just doesn't have the time to do it.
Sure.
And also, when you
Stand
do
up.
a show you do a show for that long, he's essentially talked to everyone that of note.
Sure.
I mean, like you said, he talked to the president of the United States.
Yeah.
Like, unless he goes into a real deal political way, and yeah, he can start talking to, you know, the Zelenskys and the fucking,
Sure.
you know, he could do that, but otherwise, yeah, I think he's essentially spoken to everyone of note. The show has evolved to a point where now it's just like, there's not really, where else could he really go with it except for just maintaining it? So I get it. It's still sad.
Yeah. Agreed. Agreed.
My cheers of the week is going to a movie called Starring Jerry as himself. So you can watch this movie on Apple TV. You can rent it on Netflix.
Rent on Netflix.
I'm sorry, not Netflix. I don't know, because I got Netflix on the.
Dun-dun.
You can rent it on Amazon. Amazon has it for like $2 or $3.
Okay.
You can rent it, or you can buy it, or watch it on Apple TV. However you can find it. I mean, just Google Starring Jerry as himself. It was a movie made by a couple of Orlandoans, some locals, and we played the movie at Red Light, and we had this big showing of it a couple weeks ago, and a bunch of people showed up, and it was beautiful, and everyone watched it and had a good time, and we made a whole thing of it. You know, we dimmed the lights, and we it was like, this was a real deal showing.
Well, the titular Jerry was there too, wasn't he?
Jerry was there. We
Yeah.
did a Q&A with him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I guess I don't want to give away too much, but it's like a meta movie about something happens to Jerry. Like, Jerry is tasked with solving his own crime. He's accused of being a money launderer by the Chinese government, and so he is tasked with trying to figure out what happened with that, with obviously a very strange, surreal, and sad twist. I don't want to give too much away because I would like for you guys to watch it.
Yeah.
But I bring this up now because we did another showing where not as many people showed up because it was just like a random Sunday. And because it was like a random day and, you know, we're getting into summer, it's a little bit slower. There wasn't a lot of people there. So I got to actually just like sit and watch the movie essentially. And I mean, a really, really powerful movie. It's really well made. I was shocked because like the way that it was pitched to me was like, this is like the little indie movie that could. And
We're not a big film town in Orlando,
Right.
unfortunately.
And so when something kind of bubbles past the surface, you're like, well, it must be something. But I don't know. I just I guess I underrated it a little bit, and finally got to sit and watch it. And it's a really, really good movie. I have only cried in a handful of movies. I cried watching this movie.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. It's sad. It's funny. It's really good. So just wanted to shout it out because I think you guys should watch it. And you should help the guy Jerry out by renting the movie. You know?
Yeah.
So there you go. All right. One last thing before we get out of here. You know what it is.
Mm-hmm.
We got to review these brewskis. So from Deschutes, it is the Black Butte, a porter. Obi, what'd you think?
This is a great porter. I think it does everything a porter should do. It, I think it's a 5 for me. Yeah. It's really good.
Yeah.
It doesn't, again, it's not one of those that kind of sneaks in with a vanilla or add some cherry to the mix. No, tastes like exactly, if you were to put this in a can that just says porter on it and I drank it, I'd say, that's a good porter right there.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about it. So it's a 5. I get the notes of coffee and chocolate that they talk about. Not overly sweet, just sweet enough. Drinkable, but flavorful. Yeah, 5. I'll keep it simple. 5.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. Unanimous 5. I think it's just a really, really well made porter. Nothing super special. Not to say that insultingly. I think it's simple.
Yes.
That's a better way to. It's a simple, really well made porter. Yeah, I was. We have these at Red Light, and I thought. I mean, I tasted it before, but I didn't really like. It was during a tasting, so I kind of just had like a sip of it, and I was like, all right, that was cool. Yeah. Kind of moved on. Finally, like drinking them for real. I mean, we crushed it. We flew right through these because that's how drinkable this is. On the level of a simple lager or a nice IPA or a pale ale, this is a really well done, drinkable porter. Yeah. So, yeah, 5 for sure.
Agreed.
You think we got it?
I know we got it.
Well, if Obi says we got it, then this episode is over. This has been the One Beer In podcast. For myself, Marco Dupa. For Adam Obesius Rodriguez.
Yeah, buddy.
Thank you guys for listening. Drink delicious beer and have yourself a beautiful evening.
We love you.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.